Good evening again, everybody. Happy to be here. One of your Dharma leaders, Debbie George. And I have a lesson tonight that I so hope supports your practice and your experience of mindfulness every day, your experience of the fruits of the practice every day. So about a month ago, I gave a talk on faith and doubt. And I told you that faith is the first of the 5 spiritual faculties. I don't know if you remember, but I said next month I'm going to do the 5 spiritual faculties. So I'm keeping my word. And so what's interesting is, well, there's a lot of things interesting about it. But you already have these qualities. So this is sort of how do we use what we already have to strengthen our practice and our understanding. Before I start, I want to extend gratitude to the teachers that supported my talk tonight and the study that I've been doing recently. And that's Joseph Goldstein, Bhikkhu Bodhi, and also my Dharma buddy who got this conversation started about the 5 spiritual faculties. His name is Larry Peltz. So the Buddha gave hundreds of teachings, hundreds of discourses, but he's taught one thing: suffering and its end. So do you ever, wonder how that is? Well, there's so many angles that we can use to understand what's actually hard to see, the ways in which we suffer, and the ways in which we can mitigate that suffering. So this is yet another teaching that just offers another angle, another perspective. I don't want you to stress about any of the details of this teaching. In fact, I'm not really going into a lot of detail because I'm going to tell you how to find the sources that you can use. And I encourage you to study. If you're not doing any reading or studying now, many of you I know do regularly, but it so deepens your practice and supports it and makes it easier, makes your experience smoother. And the study deepens the practice, and the practice deepens the study. So I encourage you to do that, and don't worry about all the details of what I'm going to share. So I'm going to begin with a quote by one of the primary sources that I used for this talk, and that's Seeking the Heart of Wisdom, the Path of Insight Meditation, which is our school of meditation, Insight. This is the second book on the resources list on our website. So it's right there. You don't have to remember this. You'll just go right to our resources page. But he's the very first out of the gate description of the 5 spiritual faculties I can't improve on, so I'm going to use his words. In his teaching, the Buddha spoke of 5 spiritual faculties, qualities that bring power and balance to our minds and form an essential part of the path to freedom. Meditation is a process through which we develop these qualities so that they become strong and enduring forces, touching every aspect of our lives. So this teaching is about meditation. Okay. The 5 spiritual faculties, again, faith. And remember, the Pali word is sada, that also in, nothing is a pure translation. So some of the other words that can be used is trust, confidence, clarity, and devotion. So you might think of these kind of qualities as well. Trusting. What would the practice be like if you kind of could turn up your level of trust in the momentary experience of mindfulness, as well as trying to bring it to continuity, continuous. So these 5: faith, effort, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom make up the 5 spiritual faculties. You might notice that other than the first and the 5th, faith and wisdom, the middle 3, effort, mindfulness, and concentration, they make up the mind training portion of the Noble Eightfold Path. And remember, the Noble Eightfold Path is the training program that is a lifelong endeavor. It's leads us to liberation from suffering, and it's a way to live our lives. So the training portion that is the mind training are the middle 3 of the 5 spiritual faculties. And maybe that makes it a little more understandable as to how, like, effort is spiritual. Like, we don't really think about effort as a spiritual endeavor, a spiritual quality. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. But I think I'll let that be. Over time, again, they develop and strengthen. There's the faith faculty, the first, has 3 aspects. So you begin with inspiration, with some kind of inspiration, and it's there might be excitement there. There might be it's considered bright, and it's young. It's immature. You could easily just drop that and find inspiration in something else. So we want to stay with faith. We make a commitment. It turns into verified faith. So bright faith turns into, wow, when I do this, this happens. Ehi passiko. See for yourself. The Buddha said, test it. If it doesn't yield results, let it go. Verified faith is what develops from that initial faith, and then it moves to devotional, or devotional is the more common name. So this is, you're not going to, any difficulties aren't going to throw you off. You're just going to stay with it. You're going to keep it going. Your faith is very strong and devotional. So, and then the next 3 again are the mind training. So effort, mindfulness, and concentration. Effort yields energy. When we bring effort, wholesome effort, we find energy is the result. Again, this is a quality we already have. We have the capacity to bring effort. Mindfulness, the capacity to see clearly, to see things as they are, and to see that we have choice each moment. I can stay with this direct experience. I might get caught up, and I can return as soon as I become aware again. So again, mindfulness, the more we practice, what happens? It gets stronger. Same thing with concentration. Concentration is that stabilizing factor, that calming, grounding, stabilizing factor that really yields continuity in our mindfulness. So they all work together, these 3, effort, mindfulness, and concentration, to bring us to bring our practice deeper and stronger. Wisdom, the fifth faculty, really is pointing to seeing things as they are, seeing that things change. The impermanence is the way it is, and it's anicca, that suffering, stress is part of life. It is how it is. It's what we inherit from being born, that life is challenging and we, aren't in control. So that's inherent in life. And that it's not personal. This human experience is we tend to take the whole thing as it's a personal experience, but really we're changing moment to moment, just like everything else. So that's the wisdom piece. And as all the faculties strengthen each other, okay? So they all point to reducing suffering in our lives. I want to share now one of the sources that I used is from Bhikkhu Bodhi. He just wrote a one-page essay, a lovely essay. It was back in 1998, but you'll find it on accesstoinsight.org. If you're not familiar with Access to Insight, it's a wonderful source for commentaries on the teachings. So I'm going to share some of the thoughts that Bhikkhu Bodhi offered on the 5 spiritual faculties. And again, that is the title. If you go on Access to Insight, it's the 5 spiritual faculties by Bhikkhu Bodhi. He points out that the most commonly depicted image in Buddhism is this image of a journey, this eightfold path that's the royal roadway. And then he says there's this teaching offers a different route metaphor. And it's around the god Indra, who vanquished the demons and attained supremacy among the gods. So Indriya means faculties. And this metaphor points to control and domination in their specific compartment of spiritual life. So each faculty gaining more and more control and more ability to dominate, really. So that would be nice, wouldn't it? Sign me up for that. So I thought that was interesting. Bhikkhu Bodhi, this is a quote now. He says, the faculties are active powers which coordinate and canalize, like as in canal, canalize our natural energies toward harmony and balance, essential to our true happiness and peace. He says these predispositions, the pre-existent dispositions are brought to a higher goal. So again, they're qualities we all have, but they're brought to a higher goal. So commonplace mental factors yielding spiritual faculties, yielding mighty instruments for liberation. Don't you love how eloquent and lofty Bhikkhu Bodhi writes? So quickly again, what do? Faith vanquishes doubt. That's what I talked about a month ago, right? Energy provides the fire that burns up obstructions. So effort, yielding energy, really provides that strength. Mindfulness offers clear awareness versus carelessness. Concentration, again, steadiness, calming the body and the mind. And wisdom drives away ignorance. I'm going to end this Bhikkhu Bodhi section with a quote that I think is lovely. Born of humble origins and everyday functions of the mind, through the Dhamma, the 5 faculties acquire a transcendent destiny. Transcendent destiny. I'm gonna repeat that one for you. Born of humble origins and everyday functions of the mind, through the Dhamma, the 5 faculties acquire a transcendent destiny. So remember, one of my hopes for this talk was to inspire you. And so I hope that these ideas are doing that. Anyway, I'm going to tell you a story now. And it's a story that I realized was really a result of my practice. It was a life experience I had that wouldn't have happened without my practice. Okay. And so this is, I'm gonna read what I wrote here. I said, as my practices deepened, a direct result is opening to more life, more wider, out of the box experiences. So this was close to 3 years ago. It'll be 3 years in August. Some of our family members made a trip to Albania, just a vacation. So I don't know if you know that it's post-communist. It's a democratic country now, and it's considered like one of the most economical places to vacation. It's really, really inexpensive, and it's stunning. I mean, it's Alps down to turquoise water, and it's crazy inexpensive. So we went, and where we were staying in these little huts on the beach, it was the spot where the paragliders or parasails landed right there on our beach. So we would watch them. We watched them, land. And of course, the younger, my son and his girlfriend and other people, I'm doing that. I'm definitely doing that. And right out of the gate, I said, I'm not doing that. I will take pictures of you all when you land. I'm going to be right there. I'm going to take great pictures. And they were like, why aren't you going to do it? And I was like, I don't do that. I just do not do that. There's no way. So did I have any faith? And no. So they kept on me a little bit. Well, I was about to turn 60. Wouldn't you like to do something like this to mark your 60th birthday? It's like, well, yeah, I would, but I'm not going to do that. Anyway, long story short, there I was in the car going up the 30-minute drive to the top of the Alp mountain. I decided, so verifiable faith started to arise when I saw that they would land very gently and lightly, and everybody seemed to be happy, and so, well, I can always go up the mountain and I can always come down in the car if I change my mind. So I'm going to skip from faith to the fifth faculty, wisdom, which is really just diving in, investigation. So on the way up, I was with the guide. By the way, I had a guide. I didn't do it alone. And so I interrogated him, so how long have you been doing this? How old are you? How healthy are you? How much do you love your life? Was basically what I wanted to know. And he just didn't really convince me that he loved his life a lot, and his 3 children and his wife, and he done this for years and years, and et cetera. So that was the wisdom piece that supported the faith. Then at the top of the mountain, here comes effort. So we had to, spread out the sail and do all this work to get ready. And then the training, he came to me and said, okay, now you just listen carefully. So here's mindfulness. Now listen to what I'm going to say, and then just do what I say and we'll be fine. Okay. So I listened carefully, mindfulness 100% turned up. And then he said, okay, so when I tell you, all you're going to do is when I say go, you're just going to run, and you have to run off the cliff. Okay. Every cell in your body is saying absolutely no possible way. And the instruction, so you could be safe and everything could go well. So you have to, faith was essential. Just when I say, just start running and run fast off the cliff. Okay, this is true. So okay, he said, go. So we ran. I mean, I just ran, and it was crazy. And then as soon as you hit the sky, the air, the sail gets caught and you're floating. And then it is absolute pure mindfulness. People that didn't even meditate were saying, I think that must be like mindfulness, because you are keenly aware, moment by moment. It's quiet up there. It's quiet. And you're just, so by the way, where we were landing on the beach was not even a dot. Like you couldn't see any buildings from the top of the mountain. It was so, it looked like outer space, almost like Earth, blue and brown, green and brown. Anyhow, so we're sailing mindfully and getting calmer and more at ease, more centered, more relaxed, more concentrated, really. It wasn't till, later. And so then we landed beautifully. I would like to, I've done this before, and it's, it's one of my favorite. I know I'm sort of a one-trick pony with this, but this is that mindful, that's what my mind was like when I first thought about doing it. The first, actually, when I said, no way, I'm not doing it. This is what the mind was like. And then this is the mindful when I was in the air floating. This is what we sit for. This is what our aim is, to sit. Not this mindful, this one. So also you might notice when you're sitting, when you're in your sitting practice, that there is that point where it's like free falling. When you really let go of the thinking mind and turn to this momentary awareness of this breath in and out, the body awarenesses, the sounds, the opening to the field of awareness. It is really an unanchored, unhinged kind of experience. That's my experience, and I ask you to consider if it's yours. I'd like to end now with a lovely quote back to Joseph Goldstein. We do not have to live in a world of illusion if we are committed to realizing the truth. We can approach our lives with a sense of spiritual urgency, with a great desire to understand this body and mind before we die, developing the strength of mind to go straight ahead without abandoning our sense of purpose. And in both intensive meditation practice and our daily lives, the refining and deepening of the 5 spiritual faculties can make real our aspiration to make best use of our lives. So I hope that's inspiring and helpful. Thank you so much. So please feel free to do your hand raising, and I'll unmute you, or I'll ask you to unmute, and or chat. And I think what I will do is do the announcements while I'm waiting for people to see if they have any questions. So everything I'm going to say is on imccharlotte.org. Okay, so no worries. Just you've heard, if you come every week, you hear these a lot. So the book club with Joy and Larry, Mindfully Facing Disease and Death, book by Analio, this coming week, June 3rd. It's on the website. And again, the first week of July 1st. Book discussion group. Next month, we have yet another guest. That'll be 3 months in a row that we've been honored with having guests. And we want to thank the program committee and all the folks involved. So we have Mary Aubrey coming on June 16th. The residential retreat that's going to be August 19th, 20th, 21st, and it ends the 22nd, is open for registration. So you can register now. There's limited spots, so please consider it. And reach out to Dharma leaders if you have questions, if you've never been on a retreat or you want to know more about it. The Tuesday noon sits have resumed and going really well. So if you haven't tuned in Tuesday at noon, get on the website and click into the Zoom. It's all on Zoom. I'm sorry if anybody tried to get into the instructions tonight, because I was not able to get in to the room. It said there was already a meeting, and I tried to get in and I couldn't. So I hope nobody was there. Next week, I'm sure this won't happen. It's the discussion group, the practice discussion group. It is the first Wednesday of the month. So those with a consistent practice, there's a Dharma leader and others to be inspired by. I want to invite you to offer Donna if you are able. We really appreciate it very much. We still have expenses. And I also just want to thank so much the volunteers. There's so much that goes on outside of this evening. So thank you so much for all the work that's being done in the committees and everybody. So, okay. Let's see if there's any comments or questions. Let me see. I don't see any. Oh, here's something. It looks like the announcements. It looks like everything I said. Unless there's something in there. Did I miss something? Okay, good. Thank you, Alana. Thank you. And let me see. Okay, I guess it was pretty straightforward, right? Thumbs up on that? Is it straightforward? Nobody has any? Let's see. Thank you, Danny. And looks like we have apart from jumping off a mountain, what are some more ordinary ways we can challenge ourselves? I'm so grateful you asked that question. I did not want to imply that you have to run off a cliff with a parasail at all. So thank you so much. I think that's for each of us to discern. For some of us, just going for regular walks is getting out of their box. So anything that you can think that would enhance your well-being, that isn't something that you do currently, that would be out of your box. Eleanor Roosevelt said, if you don't do one thing every day that frightens you, this is a paraphrase, then she said do one thing every single day that frightens you. Now, I don't know. I mean, that's, it's a tall order, but go ahead and strike out a little, see what it's like. You have stability from your practice that you might be surprised. You might be surprised that it's there. That, when we're not believing all our thoughts anymore, when we're being more discerning and being more flexible in our thinking, we can find that we might be open to things we weren't open to in the past. I'd love anybody to report back. Okay. See. Can you guys believe I did that? I can barely believe it. Okay, but I did. And I do attribute it quite a bit to the practice. So I think it looks like we're pretty complete. Is there any other? Okay, we're gonna do our metta, and then I'm going to unmute everybody so we can hear each other's voices. Wouldn't that be nice? Okay, so let's settle in now. I appreciate your comment, Angela. There's just one more comment, sorry. Just pondering the idea of testing our own faith. Certainly faith feels personal and individual as well as universal. And we can test it. We can test it with wisdom, with discernment. Okay, so let's settle in, everybody, please. And close your eyes. And come home to this being, this body and mind that we call our own. And that is transient. And can we wish ourselves truly, faithfully, well-being? May I be truly at ease and peaceful. May I be truly safe from harm internally, unhelpful thoughts, and externally. May I be protected and safe. May I have physical ease and contentment, health. And may I be free from anxiety, stress, suffering. May I be free. And bringing into your heart a being or beings that you'd like to include in your loving kindness. And directing toward them May you be truly at ease and peaceful. May you feel protected and safe from internal and external harm. May you have physical ease, contentment, health. And may you be free from stress, anxiety, from any suffering. May you be free. Now opening our hearts to all beings all over this earth, the earth itself that is in distress. Imagine sending our loving kindness in every direction. May all and may all beings be at ease and have peace. May all everywhere be safe and protected from any harm. May all beings, omitting none, have physical ease, contentment, health. May all beings be free from suffering. May all be free. Hmm.